Welcome to Comeback Yoga. My name is Eric. I'm going to be your guide here over the next 25 minutes or so. And let's settle in over mat. And our theme today is building resilience. Building resilience. So the theme last month was presence. And what I might offer is that building on top of presence is building resilience is building your presence, your sense of presence of yourself. Let's see what we mean. This is in the nervous system and then the sense of self, the sensations that we have. So let's see what happens as we do our practice. We're going to be working on the upper body, but I'll try to keep bringing some of these concepts in. Let's go over some basics, all right? No pausing in the breath cycle unless I show you something different. So in through the nostril and out through the nostril. In through the nostril and out through the nostril. And then the next layered quality that we want to add to the breathing cycle is no pausing in the breath cycle. So smooth inhales and then right into the exhale where there's no pausing in the breath cycle. Now, sometimes it might feel like we have an effort or a concentration to do this, but this is important to continue to try to do this. But then there'll be other times of if there is no effort. That's what we want to work towards, is having no effort in allowing the body to just breathe naturally in through the nostril, out through the nostril, no pausing in the breath cycle. This will relax the animal brain, and I'll give you a little hint. It also affects our sense of time, in the present moment. Where is time? What is time in the present moment? So, no pausing in the breath cycle. In through the nostril, out through the nostril. And then as we do the exercises and the poses, find the sweet spot on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you don't feel anything, 10 is sharp and painful. You're looking for a 4, 5, 6 level of engagement where you're engaged, get relaxed. And then the other concept that we want to bring into the class is to look for pleasant sensations. Sensations that feel good. All right, so that would be any type of relaxation. You might notice a muscle group or something relax, or you might find more space. Big organic breaths would be another sign of a pleasant sensation, or a yawn. Those are all releases of the nervous system. And then also the pleasant sensation of just allowing for the mind to be still where you are present here, now. Content. Everything is okay. All right, that would be considered a pleasant sensation. So let's go ahead and begin. We'll begin with the neck. So you want to look over to the left. Look over to the left. Now, as you're looking and stretching the neck over to the left, you want to look your eyeballs to the left, in through the nostril, and then exhale, looking your eyeballs to the right, and you want to exhale through pursed lips. Now, I know I'm having you doing something a little different, so right through the exhale goes through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril, looking your eyeballs to the left. Let it go, looking right. And then the eyeballs to the center. And then back to center. And then here we go. Looking over to the right. Breathing in through the nostril. Exhale through pursed lips. Breathe in through the nostril. Look your eyeballs to the right. And then exhale through pursed lips, looking your eyeballs to the left. Breath in through the nostril, looking right. Let it go, looking left. And then head back to center. And then here we go, looking up this time. This time your eyeballs go to the top of your head. Breath in through the nostril. And then exhale through pursed lips as your eyeballs look down. Breath in through the nostril, looking up. And then let it go, looking down. And then head comes back to center. And then dropping the chin. And your eyeballs looking to the top of your head. Big breath in through the nostril. And then exhale, looking down like you're looking at your chin. Breath in through the nostril, looking up. Your eyeballs, just your eyeballs. And then let it go. And then come back to center. And then we're going to look to the left. And then we want to look up like you're looking up at the ceiling, and then come on over to the right-hand side. And then looking up again. And then dropping the chin, looking over to the other side. And then dropping the chin, looking over to the other side. And then back to center. And then, all right, so we're systematically aligning the nervous system, stimulating the nervous system so that our resilience, so our sense of our nervous system can be relaxed and attentive. Relaxed and attentive. So arms up, and then dropping, inverting that goalpost, and then coming back up, and then reversing. So in through the nostril, this time in through the nostril and out through the nostril. In through the nostril, goalpost, and then out through the nostril, and then shake it out. Shake it out. Okay. And then the next one is back into the goalposts, and we're just going to continue to systematically open the body. So just go ahead and draw the elbows in, and then open up. Draw the elbows in, and open up. Draw the elbows in, and open up. All right. You can link it up with your breath, and then drop. All right, and then let's go ahead and take your right arm, and you're going to bring it over to the other opposite side of your head. I'm just going to grab here, and now you're going to take your other hand and give a lift. You see how I'm taking my hand and put them on the other side of the elbow, and then go ahead and press into the fingertips. I'm going to press into the fingertips. 10% effort, 7 seconds. And release, relax, and then come back, and then press 10% effort into the fingertips. And breathing, no pausing in the breath cycle, and then relax, and then pressing. And then release. And then let's do the other side. So hand comes over the top of the head. And then you just reach over with the other fingertips. And you want to press through this is going to help release those side bodies and the shoulders. And relax. And then go ahead and press into the fingertips. And there you go. And then relax. One more time. And release. And then back to center. And then notice what you notice. Draw the shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through the collarbone. And just see if you can notice a global sense of relaxation. Now we're talking about resilience. And part of resilience is strong persistence, but the other half of resilience is rest. Stillness, silence, relaxedness, contentness. So if you can balance the two, your resilience will go to the moon. Go to the moon. You gotta have both. All right, and then let's go ahead and do some twists. Okay, so we're gonna take that left hand, put it on the tailbone, And then the right hand comes to the outside of the left knee, and then you want to lift up and over and breathe. No pausing in the breath cycle. Then you want to lift up and over, twisting. Find the sweet spot in the twist, and then release back to center. And then take the other hand, take the right hand, put it on the tailbone, supporting the twist. Left hand to the right knee, and then lifting up and twisting. And breathing, no pausing in the breath cycle. Find the sweet spot. Any pleasant sensations. And breathe, no pausing in the breath cycle. And release. And then let's do some cat cows. So I'll give you a side profile on the cat cow. And so the cow is the inhale. You're pressing the sternum out and then lifting your head up, broadening through the collarbone. That's the inhale. And then on the exhale is the cat. You're tucking the chin and the spine presses out. And then back in. And then you just go back. No pausing in the breath cycle. In through the nostril, out through the nostril. Cat cow. Working the spine. The spine is everything. Oh my. Yeah. Working from the spine out. No pausing in the breath cycle. And then come back into center. And then the next exercise, it sounds like it's a lower body exercise, but it'll help the hip, by releasing the hips, we'll be able to allow the spine to realign. And so go ahead and wide-legged squat. So the legs are wide, or the feet are wide, and then you just want to settle into a squat. Now you start wherever you're at, okay? If you're way up here, that's okay. Just find a comfortable position where you can start to relax and let gravity do what it's supposed to do. And then moving, allowing that spine, opening up the pelvic girdle, opening up the hips, and then this natural traction of the spine will open up the lower back. All right. I highly recommend 2 minutes a day. We're not going to get quite to 2 minutes a day, but I highly recommend 2 minutes a day. If it feels good, if it's right, okay? If it feels good, if it's right. All right. Look for any pleasant sensations. No pausing. Now, resilience. If you can find the polarity in action and inaction. Find the polarity in action and inaction. Your resilience will go through the moon. Go through the roof. To the moon. Resilience. Action and inaction. Okay, and then go ahead and come to seat. We'll come out of that squat. A good way to come out of this and release that squat is to extend the legs and just do this little tapotement. You see how I'm just bouncing my legs? It's not a very good camera shot, but I'm just bouncing my legs. Okay. And then the next one also you might think is a lower body exercise, but I find it to be very valuable for the upper body as well, and that is child's pose. So we'll come into child's pose. So the knees are wide, the toes come together, and then drawing the torso to the mat and reaching out with the hands, and the head comes to the mat, and breathe.
And breathe. Look for any pleasant sensations just having your head on the mat. You might want to roll it left and right. That might feel really good, bringing that blood into the prefrontal lobe. And breathing. And then come on back up into seat.
We're gonna just do a little joint freeing. A little joint freeing. All right. All right, so hands straight up like this. And then just a little, just moving the wrists. All right. And then drop them and then the other way. Windshield wiper the other way. All right, and then open wide and then close. And you want to touch, see if you can touch all fingertips. Boom. And then do it real fast. Boom, 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 boom. And then arms out. Boom, 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 boom. Arms up. Boom. You can't really see it, but I'm just opening and closing my hands real fast. Boom, 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 boom. All right. And then just draw your shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through the collarbone. As you are being still, just notice any pleasant sensations. Are you present? Are you content? All right, let's do a shoulder exercise. So grab your right hand, grab your left shoulder, and then take your hand and you just bring it into the elbow, and you're going to press straight out. So when you find the balance, the polarity of action and inaction, resilience goes up, and then relax. So here we did action, and now we relax. All right, so action and inaction, and then back into the stretch. 10% effort. This is called PNF stretching. It will release this fascial plane, and then relax. And then one more. Go ahead and take that stretch in the back. Look for any pleasant sensation. I just had a big organic breath and that release. Okay, and now the left hand comes to the outside of the right shoulder, and then go ahead and then press. Press into the hand, 10% effort. And then relax. So action in action. This will build resilience. You got it. If you go work out, you get strong, what do you got to do? You got to sleep. You got to relax. You got to let that nervous system recover. And then relax. And the cycle of action and inaction within your yoga practice, and then taking it out into your life, you just notice the action and inaction and your resilience. Your nervous system will feel safer, and you'll just have a balance between action and inaction. Your nervous system will be able to recover. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and give yourself a hug, right arm over left, and then we're going to bring some oxytocin into the brain, and we're going to balance out the cranial nerves here. So nose nice and straight. We're going to be moving the eyeballs left and right, up and down. So this time I'm going to have you breathe in through the nostril and out through purse lips. So in through the nostril, and you want to look your eyeballs to the left. So look your eyeballs to the left. Big breath in through the nostril. Exhale looking right. Look your eyeballs to the right and exhale through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril looking left. Let it go looking right. One more time. Big breath in through the nostril looking left. Let it go looking right. And then switching it up. Left arm over right. And then this time your eyeballs to the top of your head. Big breath in through the nostril. Big breath in through the nostril looking up. And then out through pursed lips, looking down. Breath into the nostril, looking up. Let it go looking down. Breath into the nostril, looking up. Let it go looking down. And then shake it out. All right. and then a little snap and tap. So balancing the left and right hemisphere of the brain, stimulating the hypothalamus. You just give a little snap where you can see your hands in your peripheral vision. And then you give a little snap and then a little tap, nice and soft. You just give a little tap and then a little snap looking left and snap looking right and looking to the left and look to the right and a little tap and then you shake it out. And then your thumbs, they come right onto the temple here. And then you just want to massage, just massage the forehead. This is bringing that blood flow into the prefrontal lobe. What's another way of looking at something? What's another way of looking at this? All right. Okay. And then you want a little body tap. You're just going to tap up the one arm, tap up the other arm. Go touch the toes. And you would touch the left shoulder, the right knee, right shoulder, left knee. Criss, cross, apple, sauce. Crisscross, applesauce. And then a little cup in the hand right on the inside of the elbow. And then the other side of the elbow. And then right on the inside, real soft and easy. And then the other side. Little Irish Spring. And the other side. All right. And then the next is the bones of the face. The bones of the face. You want to tap the bones of the face about a half a dozen times. So above the eyebrow. Above the other eyebrow. Right in between the eyebrow. And cheekbone. And cheekbone. Chin. Collarbone. Right here, the thymus. And then tap the forehead right over the top of the head to about C7. You just want to go, just tap right over. And then I'll introduce another little technique. This is an actual yoga pranayama breathing technique. It's called humming bee pranayama. And so we'll just do a couple of breaths where you breathe in through the nostril and then you exhale through the nostril, but you're letting that sound, that vibration work through the vocal cords as a humming process until the breath expels itself all the way to the bottom of the lungs. And then you take another breath in through the nostril and then through the hum. So let's do a couple of those. So big breath in through the nostril and then I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm humming. It should feel good for you. Whether you can hum any way you want. And then just relax. Just recognize that relaxed attentiveness. Allow any pleasant sensations to be there. No pausing in the breath cycle. In through the nostril and out through the nostril. No pausing in the breath cycle. It will calm that animal brain down and the sense of time will relax. Sense of time will relax. Always find the sweet spot in everything you do, that 4, 5, 6 level of intensity where you are engaged yet relaxed. And then throughout the day, look for pleasant sensations. There will be any opportunities for the body to relax, any sense of spaciousness, any big organic breaths, any sighs or yawns are all encouraged. And then throughout the day, look for those pleasant sensations. Big organic breaths are in opportunities where the mind is just still. And you can recognize that you are here, now, content, at peace. I want to thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me today, from one veteran to another, and all those that care for us, love us, and support us. Have a tremendous day. Be resilient throughout your day. Namaste.